Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born January 15th, 1929. He was assassinated April 4th, 1968. They killed the dreamer, but the dream lives. Dr. Benjamin E. Mays, a renowned educator, and I think at this time was president of Morehouse College in Atlanta, said that in part the American people were responsible for Dr. King's death because it shouldn't have been necessary that he go to Memphis. But as I knew, as Dr. King knew, and as I know, no man lives before his time, and no man lives after his time. Dr. King suffered a lot of abuse in his lifelong struggle for racial equality. Immediately after the Selma to Montgomery registration march, he was asked, "Why are you rushing things? When will the Negro be satisfied?" Dr. King's answer was, "Why are we rushing things? It's been 400 years now, and in that length of time, we've lost faith in tokenism and gradualism because we know that they lead to do-nothingism. When will the Negro be satisfied? We will never be satisfied as long as the Negro in Alabama cannot vote and the Negro in New York thinks there's nothing for which to vote for." They told him in Mississippi, said, "You were Georgia born and reared." Said, "Why are you here?" Dr. King's answer was, "I'm here because there is injustice here. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." He told them in Memphis, Tennessee, the night before his assassination. He said, "I'm fear of no man tonight. God has allowed me to go to the mountaintop, and I've seen the promised land. I may not be here to go with you, but I'll tell you tonight that we as a people are going to make it to the promised land. For if there's a man who hasn't found something for which he will die for, then he hasn't found very much to live for." He told them in Washington, D.C., "I have a dream today." He was expecting a crowd of 100,000, but as he approached the podium out in front of the Lincoln Memorial, he looked out and there was a crowd in excess of 250,000 followers of all races from all across this country. And this is what he said to them: "I'm not unmindful that some of you have come here from excessive trials and tribulations. Some of you have come here fresh from narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom has left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering, but let us continue with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Alabama. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that this will be fixed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair." And so I say to you, my friends, that even though we are faced with the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. And that dream is deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day, down on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down to the table of brotherhood together. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day, down in Mississippi, a state that is sweltering in the heat of oppression and is sweltering in the heat of injustice, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will grow up in a nation where they won't be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down on the red hills of Georgia, little black boys and little black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and little white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. This is our hope, and this is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we'll be able to transform the jangling discords of this nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we'll be able to hew out of the mountains of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we'll be able to go to school together, to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to stand up for justice together, to go to jail together, knowing that we'll be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with a new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America's to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghanies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped mountains of Colorado, let freedom ring. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California, but not only that. Let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi and every mountainside, and let freedom ring. And when we allow freedom to ring from every village, every hamlet, every state and every city, then we'll be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men, white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and singing the words of an old Negro spiritual. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. That's it.